She was shoved into a pool while the elite laughed because she was too plain, too quiet, too out of place. Is that the same girl who couldn't swim? That dress looks straight out of a charity bin, so her billionaire husband must have married the wrong file. What no one knew was that she'd spent 5 years learning to swim, and she and her husband were about to launch a plan to take them all down. Calla Rowe, 28, stood near a magnolia tree. Her simple cream sundress, $30 from a local boutique, soft against her slender frame. Her auburn hair was pinned loosely, framing a face of quiet beauty, high cheekbones, green eyes that held a storm beneath their calm. Born in a Pittsburgh steel town to a factory worker mother, Calla had clawed her way through community college, landing a job as a technical assistant in a strategic AI lab. There, she'd met Alexander Callahan, 35, a defense mogul whose $10 billion empire built drones and cybersecurity systems. Their love, forged in late-night lab talks, led to a private marriage 2 years ago. No media, no fanfare. High society dubbed her the shadow beside the titan, her modesty a mystery they scorned. The Clarendon estate sprawled across 200 acres of Virginia's rolling hills, its limestone mansion a monument to the Vance family's old money. On this July afternoon in 2025, the annual poolside summer gathering drew 150 of the upper elite hedge fund titans, fashion moguls, and political insiders. The Olympic-sized pool, framed by marble columns and blooming magnolias, shimmered under the sun, its turquoise depths a stage for wealth's cruel games. Waiters in crisp white jackets glided with champagne flutes, while a string quartet's notes floated over the laughter of guests in $5, $1,000 swimsuits and tailored linens. At the heart of it all stood Veronica Vance, 30, the family's golden heiress, her emerald bikini and diamond anklet flashing as she held court. Her presence promised drama, her smirk a blade sharpened by privilege. Today, Calla's presence at Clarendon, announced as Alexander's wife, sent whispers through the crowd, their curiosity a spark, their disdain a gathering storm. The audience's hearts tensed, their anger stirring at the elite's oblivious cruelty. Flashbacks hit Calla 2020. A college pool party, her thrift store swimsuit mocked by Veronica and her clique. "You don't belong here, Gray Mouse," Veronica had sneered, shoving her into the deep end. Calla, unable to swim, flailed, her lungs burning, until a stranger pulled her out. The laughter, Veronica's loudest, haunted her. She'd spent 5 years learning to swim, not for sport, but for survival. Her strokes honed in a YMCA pool, her resolve a vow never again. Now, at Clarendon, she felt the weight of that day. But her silence was no weakness. It was a trap, set with Alexander's help. The audience's rage flared, their hearts with Calla, their fury afire against this heartless history. The elite turned, their gazes sharpening, as Veronica sauntered over, her emerald bikini gleaming, born to a $2 billion real estate dynasty. Her charm masked a ruthless streak, her ambition to dominate Virginia's social scene unmatched. "Remember last time, Calla," she said, her grin venomous. "I still picture you flailing like a wet kitten." Laughter erupted, a cruel wave. As Calla stepped back, her green eyes steady, the pool's edge inches away. Veronica's smirk hid her unease. Calla's calm, her billionaire husband's shadow, threatened her throne. A hedge fund manager, Ethan Brooks, 40, his Rolex glinting, chuckled. "That dress looks like it's from a thrift shop clearance." The crowd roared, the taunt a blade against her poise, echoing the college jeers. Calla's mind flashed to her lab, her calculations outsmarting PhDs, her silence a fortress. The audience's anger surged, their hearts pounding at this orchestrated cruelty, their fury a volcano against Veronica's arrogance. A cluster of academic elites gathered near the estate's library terrace turned their credentials into a vicious assault, their tweed blazers and leather briefcases gleaming. "She's an imposter," sneered. Dr. Helen Warwick, 47, a sociology professor from an Ivy League university. Her voice sharp, a community college dropout playing billionaire's wife. Her colleague, a historian named Edward Holt, 50, chuckled. Her intellect's as plain as that dress. Their words, fueled by Veronica's whispers of Calla's uneducated roots, cut through the clink of champagne glasses. As guests nodded, their martinis raised in mockery, Helen called out, "Calla, you're not a scholar, you're a secretary." The terrace roared, the taunt ablaze against her poise, echoing the college professors who'd dismissed her. Calla's mind flashed to her lab. Her AI code solving problems PhDs couldn't. Her late nights fueled by her mother's words. Your mind is your crown. She stood firm, her green eyes steady, her silence a fortress. But the pain of being reduced to her origins stung. Internally, she wrestled with the urge to retort. Her restraint a calculated choice. She needed Veronica's cruelty to peak for the trap to spring. Veronica's nod to Helen deepened the assault. Her scheme a public execution. The audience's fury surged, their hearts breaking at this intellectual cruelty. Their rage a volcano against the academic's arrogance. A group of old money aristocrats, gathered near the estate's rose garden, turned their lineage into a vicious assault, their bespoke suits and pearl necklaces gleaming. She's a peasant, sneered Charlotte Lang, 42, a descendant of Virginia's first families. Her voice sharp, Calla row in our circle. She's a charity case, her ally, a financier named Victor Klein, 45, laughed. That dress, did she sew it from tablecloths? Their words, fueled by Veronica's whispered tales of Calla's lowly past, cut through the quartet's music. As guests nodded, their champagne flutes raised in mockery, Charlotte called out, "Calla, you're not a guest, you're an exhibit." The garden roared, the taunt a whip against her poise, echoing the college clique's jeers. Calla's mind flashed to her mother's factory shifts, her pride in Calla's lab work. Now mocked, she stood firm, her green eyes steady, her silence a fortress against their scorn. Veronica's nod to Charlotte deepened the assault, her scheme a public execution. The audience's fury surged, their hearts breaking at this ancestral cruelty, their rage a volcano against the aristocrats' malice. Near the cabanas, a group of fashion influencers spun their disdain into a public flogging, their designer sarongs and $1,000 sunglasses flashing. She's a nobody, hissed Lila Grant, 27, a Vogue darling with 3 million followers, her voice dripping with scorn. Alexander married the help, her friend, a model named Theo Klein, 29, laughed. That sundress is giving discount rack. Their words, laced with Veronica's whispered lies about Calla's gold digging, cut through the quartet's music. As guests nodded, their martinis raised in mockery, Lila called out, "Calla, did you borrow that dress from the maid?" The cabanas roared, the taunt a whip against her calm, reviving memories of her mother sewing her prom dress. Calla stood still, her silence a shield. But the influencer's scorn was a crushing storm. The audience's rage roared, their hearts breaking at this relentless shaming, their fury a tempest against the influencer's malice. A clique of charity board members, mingling near the estate's fountain, spun their philanthropy into a public flogging, their designer gowns and gold watches flashing. "She's a fraud," hissed Evelyn Tate, 38, a board chair for a children's fund, her voice dripping with scorn. A lab worker marrying a billionaire. She's after his wallet, her friend, a gala organizer named Owen Grant, 36, chuckled. Her presence insults our cause, their words, laced with Veronica's lies about Calla's opportunism, sliced through the crowd's murmurs. As guests whispered, "She's a leech," Evelyn called out, Calla, did you come to beg for a donation? The fountain roared, the taunt ablaze against her calm, reviving memories of her college rejection. Calla's mind flashed to her bookstore, funding kids' dreams. Her heart fierce, she stood still, her silence a shield. But the board member's venom was a crushing storm. Veronica's smirk, as she toasted Evelyn, fueled the derision. Her control absolute. The audience's rage roared, their hearts shattering at this hypocritical cruelty. Their fury a tempest against the board member's malice. At the poolside bar, a clique of political insiders turned their connections into a vicious assault, their tailored blazers and silk ties gleaming. She's a fraud, sneered Marcus Tate, 45, a lobbyist with White House access, his voice booming, a lab assistant snagging a billionaire. She's playing us, his colleague, a strategist named Sophia Vance, 33, Veronica's cousin, laughed. She's here to leech off Alexander's name. Their words, fueled by Veronica's rumors, sliced through the crowd's murmurs. As guests whispered, "She's a nobody," Marcus called out. "Calla, you're not elite, you're baggage." The bar erupted, the taunt a guillotine against her poise, echoing the college crowd's jeers. Calla's mind flashed to her wedding, Alexander's vow to shield her, her resolve to stand tall. She stood firm, her silence a beacon. But the insider's scorn was a suffocating tide. The audience's fury exploded, their hearts pounding at this professional betrayal, their rage a hurricane against the insider's arrogance. The estate staff, stationed near the poolside buffet, turned their roles into a cruel spectacle, their white jackets and silver trays glinting. "She's a nobody," sneered Jasper Reed, 29, a head waiter, his voice sharp as he poured wine. "Thinks she's elite in that dollar store dress." His colleague, a caterer named Lila Brooks, 27, laughed. "She's here to serve, not swim." Their words, greenlit by Veronica's backstage whispers, cut through the clink of glasses as guests chuckled, their martinis swaying. Jasper called out, "Calla, you're not dining, you're the help." The buffet roared, the taunt a guillotine against her poise, echoing the college crowd's jeers. Calla's mind flashed to her lab, her late nights coding, her worth mocked. She stood tall, her silence a beacon. But the staff's scorn was a suffocating tide. Veronica's grin, as she signaled Jasper, sealed the plot, her malice a public execution. The audience's fury exploded, their hearts pounding at this orchestrated betrayal, their rage a hurricane against the staff's malice. The event planners, stationed near the estate's floral arch, turned their roles into a cruel spectacle, their tailored vests and clipboards glinting. "She's a nobody," sneered Clara Dunn, 30, the lead coordinator, her voice sharp as she adjusted a centerpiece. Inviting her was a clerical error. Her colleague, a designer named Theo Reed, 28, laughed. "That dress ruins our aesthetic." Their words, greenlit by Veronica's backstage lies about Calla's accidental invite, cut through the clink of glasses as guests chuckled, their champagne flutes swaying. Clara called out, "Calla, you're not on the guest list. You're a glitch." The arch roared, the taunt a guillotine against her poise, echoing the college party's gatekeepers who'd barred her. Calla's mind flashed to her lab's security desk, where she'd been mistaken for a janitor, her quiet pride in her work mocked. Internally, she felt the sting of being erased, but her silence was deliberate. Veronica's allies were building the case for her trap. She stood tall, her silence a beacon, but the planner's scorn was a suffocating tide. Veronica's grin, as she signaled Clara, sealed the plot, her malice a public execution. The audience's fury exploded, their hearts pounding at this orchestrated erasure, their rage a hurricane against the planner's malice. Veronica, emboldened by the laughter, stepped closer, her diamond anklet flashing. "You still can't swim, can you?" she taunted, her voice low but lethal, meant for Calla alone. The crowd leaned in, sensing blood. Calla took another step back, her heels at the pool's edge, her green eyes locked on Veronica. Suddenly, Veronica shoved her, hard, sending Calla backward into the turquoise depths, a split second before hitting the water. Calla's gaze found Alexander, striding across the lawn, his navy suit sharp, his face thunder. She gave him the smallest nod, a signal forged in months of planning. He understood this was no accident, but a trap beneath the water. Calla floated still, no panic, no rage, her mind clear. The death is fake, but the humiliation is real. And this time, I won't let them walk away untouched. The audience's rage surged, their hearts shattering at this deliberate cruelty, their fury a volcano against Veronica's malice. Veronica, reveling in the crowd's laughter, cornered Calla near the pool's diving board, her emerald bikini a beacon of malice. "You're still the gray mouse," she hissed, her voice low but venomous, meant for Calla alone. "You think Alexander's ring makes you one of us? You're nothing but a drowning rat." Her words, a direct echo of her 2020 cruelty, sliced through the quartet's music. As guests leaned in, sensing drama, Veronica tossed her hair, her anklet flashing, and called out louder, "Calla, why don't you jump in and spare us the embarrassment?" The crowd roared, the taunt a whip against Calla's calm, reviving the sting of her near drowning. Calla's mind flashed to the YMCA pool, her strokes a vow against fear, her heart fierce. She stood firm, her green eyes blazing, her silence a radiant defiance that unnerved Veronica. Veronica's smirk faltered, her control shaken, but she pressed on, her scheme a public execution. The audience's rage surged, their hearts breaking at this personal cruelty, their rage a volcano against Veronica's malice. Veronica, seizing the crowd's laughter, orchestrated a cruel spectacle near the poolside stage, her emerald bikini a beacon of malice. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, holding a mock award plaque labeled "Calla Row Eternal Nobody," for the woman who drowns in our world. Her voice, amplified by the estate's speakers, echoed across the lawn as guests roared, their martinis swaying. Veronica's cousin, Sophia Vance, 33, called out, "Calla, come claim your prize." The stage erupted, the taunt a whip against Calla's calm, reviving the sting of her 2020 drowning. Calla's mind flashed to the college pool, Veronica's laughter as she sank, her lungs burning, her vow to never be helpless again. Internally, she felt the humiliation's weight, but her silence was a calculated gambit. She needed Veronica's public cruelty to cement the trap. She stood firm, her green eyes blazing, her silence a radiant defiance that unnerved Veronica. Veronica tossed the plaque at Calla's feet, her smirk faltering, her control shaken. The audience's rage surged, their hearts breaking at this sadistic spectacle, their rage a volcano against Veronica's malice. Alexander, born to a Boston working-class family, had built his $10 billion empire through ruthless precision, his defense contracts a global force. At 35, his gray eyes and chiseled features hid a loyalty that burned for Calla, the only one who saw his heart. The moment she fell, he dove in, his suit sodden, his arms pulling her to the surface. The crowd gasped, their laughter dying, as he carried her to the poolside, his face a storm. Under the surface, Calla had signaled him to wait, her hand brushing his, a plan months in the making. He realized she'd baited Veronica, knowing her cruelty would repeat for the first time. He wasn't her shield, he was her partner in vengeance. The medics, stationed by Alexander's foresight, rushed forward, their faces grim, as Calla lay still, her pulse gone, the audience's hearts pounded, their fury transforming into anticipation, as Alexander's dive and Calla's calm set the stage for justice. A group of guests near the poolside pergola, fueled by the estate's mocking energy, turned their cheers into a vicious chant. Their linen suits and silk dresses swaying, gray mouse, they shouted, led by a tech mogul named Tessa Klein, 34, her voice booming, back to the gutter. Calla, her ally, a real estate heir named Leo Vance, 31, Veronica's brother, laughed. She'll sink before she swims, their chant, inspired by Veronica's earlier jabs, echoed through the magnolias, as others joined, their voices a suffocating tide. Tessa called out, Calla, you're the party's punchline. The pergola roared, the taunt a guillotine against her poise, echoing the college crowd's laughter. Calla's mind flashed to her wedding, Alexander's vow to stand by her, her resolve a vow to endure. She stood at the pool's edge, her silence a radiant fortress. But the guests' scorn was a crushing storm. Veronica's nod to Tessa fueled the chant, her malice absolute. The audience's fury roared, their hearts shattering at this mob cruelty, their rage a tempest against the guests' malice. A group of socialites, mingling near the estate's champagne tower, turned their gossip into a vicious assault, their designer gowns and diamond earrings flashing. She's a fraud, hissed Olivia Klein, 29, a charity gala star, her voice sharp. Alexander married a nobody to pity her, her friend, a philanthropist named Natalie Brooks, 31, laughed. She's still the girl who sank in college. Their words, fueled by Veronica's rumors of Calla's pathetic past, cut through the crowd's murmurs. As guests nodded, their flutes raised in mockery, Olivia called out, Calla, you're not a wife, you're a sob story. The tower roared, the taunt a blade against her poise, echoing the college clique's laughter. Calla's mind flashed to her first date with Alexander. His gentle words, you're stronger than they'll ever know. Internally, she felt the sting of their gossip, but her silence was a vow she'd let their cruelty build the case for justice. She stood still, her silence a shield, but the socialite's venom was a crushing storm. Veronica's nod to Olivia fueled the gossip. Her malice, absolute. The audience's fury roared, their hearts shattering at this social cruelty, their rage a tempest against the socialite's malice. The crowd froze, their champagne flutes lowered. As the medics worked, she's not breathing, one announced, his voice loud for effect. Her heart stopped. Veronica laughed, a nervous edge to it. She can swim. Everyone knows it was all a performance. Alexander stood, water dripping from his suit, his gray eyes lethal. So, you admit you pushed someone into a pool, believing she couldn't swim, he said, his voice low, surgical, or worse. You just confessed to attempted murder. Veronica's face paled, her anklet dull. As the crowd's murmurs turned to gasps, Ethan Brooks's Rolex seemed to choke him, his chuckle a memory. Lila Grant's sunglasses slipped, her scorn exposed. Marcus Tate's blazer sagged, his lobbyist clout dust. The audience's hearts soared, their fury melting into elation, as Alexander's words and Calla's trap silenced the elite, her cream sundress a radiant throne. Alexander, standing poolside, his suit dripping, turned to the crowd, his gray eyes lethal. Every guest who laughed at my wife, he said, his voice a blade. Your investments with Callahan Industries are terminated. The crowd gasped, as he named firms Lang Enterprises, Tate Charities, Vance Realty losing $100 million in defense contracts. Charlotte Lang's pearls seemed to choke her, her aristocratic lineage dust. Victor Klein's suit crumpled, his financier status a mirage. As he stammered, it was a misunderstanding. His mind flashed to his rise, tied to Alexander's deals. Now ashes. Security presented documents, detailing frozen accounts. As Alexander's power reshaped the elite, a photo of Cala's bookstore, her quiet legacy, flashed in his mind. Her strength, his anchor. The audience's hearts soared. Their fury transformed into elation, as Alexander's strike and Cala's trap silenced the garden. Her cream sundress, a radiant throne. Alexander, standing poolside, his suit sodden, revealed a dossier 2020 emails from Dr. Helen Warwick to Veronica, advising her to exclude Cala from academic circles for image. You weaponized knowledge against her, he said, his voice a blade. The crowd gasped, spectators turning to Helen, whose blazer sagged. Her professorial status dust. Security presented a tablet, showing her university stripping her tenure. Her legacy ashes. Edward Holt's briefcase fell, his historian role revoked. As he stammered, it was professional. His mind flashed to his rise, built on Veronica's favors, now collapsed. Alexander's reflection, Cala's lab breakthroughs, her mind outshining PhDs fueled his justice, a flashback to their lab nights. Cala's code saving his firm millions, grounded his resolve. The trap's logic. Cala had leaked the emails to Alexander's investigators. Knowing Veronica's allies would overstep, the audience cheered. Their anger transformed into pride, as Alexander's evidence and Cala's brilliance crowned her eternal. Her cream sundress a radiant throne. Police arrived, their badges glinting. As Alexander declared, this was attempted murder. Veronica stammered. It was a joke. She's faking. But the medics report, prearranged by Alexander, detailed Cala's cardiac arrest. Her survival, a miracle. A guest, Dr. Ellen Harper, 50, a cardiologist and friend of Alexander's, stepped forward, her voice steady. I witnessed the push. It was deliberate, born to a Chicago medical family. Ellen's career was built on truth. Her presence a silent vow to Cala. Flashbacks hit Cala months ago. In their Georgetown home, she told Alexander, if they try again, we'll be ready. They'd hired private investigators, planted medics, and rehearsed every step. Veronica's shove was the spark they'd waited for. The audience cheered. Their anger transformed into triumph, as Ellen's testimony and Alexander's strategy crowned Cala's plan. Her silence, a radiant scepter. Alexander faced the crowd, his voice unwavering, revealing a dossier emails from Evelyn Tate to Veronica, plotting to exclude Cala from charity events for image. You preached kindness, he said, but backed cruelty. The crowd murmured, spectators turning to Evelyn, whose gown sagged, her board chair role a mirage. Security presented a tablet, showing her charity stripped of $5 million in grants. Her influence gone. Owen Grant's watch dimmed, his gala contracts voided. As he muttered, it was just business. His mind spiraled to his rise, built on Veronica's lies, now collapsed. Alexander's reflection, Cala's bookstore. Her true philanthropy fueled his justice. A letter from Cala's lab, praising her AI work, flashed in his mind, her worth undeniable. The audience cheered, their anger transformed into pride, as Alexander's evidence and Cala's dignity crowned her eternal. Her silence, a radiant scepter, his gray eyes lethal. Unveiling a financial audit, Margaret Vance's real estate firm had funneled funds to Veronica's 2020 scheme to ostracize Cala. You betrayed my wife for profit, he declared, his voice unwavering. The crowd murmured, spectators glaring at Margaret, whose scarf wilted, her matriarch status, a mirage. Security presented documents, showing her firm losing $30 million in contracts, her empire dust. Philip Vance's law practice faced disbarment, his cufflinks tarnished. As he muttered, "We didn't know," his mind spiraled to his ambition, tied to Veronica's lies. Now, his ruin, Alexander's reflection, Cala's wedding. Her grace under his family's scorn drove his justice. A flashback to their honeymoon. Cala's vow to rise above explained her patience. She'd waited for undeniable evidence. The audience's hearts thundered. Their fury transformed into elation. As Alexander's audit and Cala's trap silenced the gazebo, her silence a radiant scepter. At the hospital, Cala woke, her green eyes clear, her sundress replaced by a gown. Alexander sat beside her, holding her hand, his suit dry now, his gray eyes soft. "I used to think I had to protect you," he whispered, "but today, you showed me how to stand tall." Cala smiled, her voice low. "I didn't want their apologies. I wanted their consequences." Her mind flashed to the YMCA pool, her strokes a vow against drowning, her heart fierce. She'd chosen Clarendon to strike, knowing Veronica's cruelty would surface. Her silence a baited hook. The investigators had footage not public, but damning, showing Veronica's shove. Her laughter, her intent. The audience's hearts thundered. Their fury transformed into awe, as Cala's resilience and Alexander's loyalty rewrote the day. Her modest dress, a radiant crown. The fallout was swift. A seismic shift in power. Veronica was charged with attempted murder. Her bail denied. Her family's $2 billion empire losing $50 million in real estate deals. Her ambassador contracts, fashion, jewelry, charity were voided. Her name erased from elite circles. Ethan Brooks's hedge fund faced audits. His Rolex pawned. As he muttered, "It was just a party." Lila Grant's Vogue deal collapsed, her followers turning away. Her sunglasses worthless. Marcus Tate's lobbying firm was blacklisted. His White House access gone. As he stammered, "I didn't push her." Their minds spiraled their rise, tied to Veronica's lies. Now, ashes, Dr. Ellen's testimony, backed by the footage, sealed their fates. The audience roared. Their fury transformed into pride, as Cala's trap and Alexander's precision silenced the elite. Her silence a radiant throne. Alexander, his face thunder, signaled his legal team, who presented a cease and desist order against the estate's staff for defamation. "You mocked my wife as the help," he said, his voice lethal, naming Jasper Reed and Lila Brooks. The crowd gasped, spectators glaring at Jasper, whose jacket crumpled, his waiter roll ashes. Security presented contracts, showing their employment terminated, their careers dust. Lila's tray fell, her caterer status gone. As she stammered, "We didn't mean..." Her mind flashed to her ambition, tied to Veronica's whispers. Now her ruin, Alexander's reflection, Cala's lab nights. Her brilliance mocked drove his justice. A photo of Cala's YMCA pool, her training ground, flashed in his mind. Her resilience, a rebuke to their scorn. The audience's hearts thundered. Their fury transformed into elation. As Alexander's maneuver and Cala's trap silenced the buffet, her cream sundress a radiant throne. Alexander, his voice resounding, turned to the event planners. "You called my wife a glitch, but you're the error." He revealed investigator logs, showing Clara Dunn's text to Veronica, mocking Cala's invite as a joke. The crowd froze, spectators turning to Clara, whose vest crumpled, her coordinator roll ashes. Security presented a contract, terminating her firm's estate events. Her career dust. Theo Reed's clipboard fell, his designer status gone. As he stammered, "It was just a prank." His mind flashed to his rise, tied to Veronica's influence. Now collapsed. Alexander's reflection, Cala's YMCA pool. Her strokes a vow fueled his justice, a flashback to their planning. Cala predicting the planner's role, explained the trap she'd ensured their texts were traced. The audience roared. Their fury transformed into pride, as Alexander's rebuke and Cala's strategy crowned her a queen. Her cream sundress, a radiant throne, whispers spread through private networks. No PR spin needed. The billionaire who jumped into a pool to save his quiet wife. Guests who'd laughed now faced shunning. Their brands toxic for endorsing cruelty. Cala's passed her lab work. Her AI breakthroughs resurfaced. Her modesty, a badge of honor. Alexander's empire grew. His defense contracts bolstered by loyalty. His dive, a legend. Cala's mind flashed to her mother, sewing her clothes, saying, "Your heart is your strength." The pool's turquoise depths, once her terror, were now her stage. Her strokes a vow kept. The Clarendon's marble columns stood witness. The elite's laughter a memory. As Cala and Alexander walked away, their hands clasped, the audience's hearts soared. Their fury transformed into elation, as Cala's strategy and Alexander's devotion crowned her eternal. Her cream sundress, a radiant scepter. Alexander stepped to the pool's center, his voice resounding, addressing the chanting guests. "You called her Gray Mouse, but you're the cowards." He revealed investigator reports, detailing Tessa Klein's role in spreading Veronica's lies since 2020. The crowd froze, spectators turning to Tessa, whose suit wilted, her mogul status dust. Security presented a document showing her tech firm losing $20 million in partnerships, her empire ashes. Leo Vance's real estate deals collapsed, his laughter a memory. As he whispered, "It was just a joke." His mind flashed to his privileged rise, now ruined by Cala's truth. Alexander's reflection, Cala's nod, her signal to strike, sealed the verdict. A video of Cala's lab work, her AI breakthroughs, flashed in his mind, her brilliance undeniable. The audience roared, their fury transformed into pride, as Alexander's rebuke and Cala's trap crowned her a queen, her silence a radiant scepter. Alexander stepped forward, his voice a vow. "You gossiped about my wife, but her truth speaks louder." He unveiled a 2020 audio of Olivia Klein boasting to Veronica about shunning Cala at galas. "You thrived on cruelty," he said, his voice lethal. The crowd gasped, spectators glaring at Olivia, whose gown sagged, her gala star status dust. Security presented a document showing her charity partnerships voided, her influence gone, Natalie Brooks' earrings dimmed, her philanthropist role revoked. As she whispered, "It was just talk." Her mind flashed to her rise, built on Veronica's lies, now ashes. Alexander's reflection, Cala's bookstore. Her quiet impact sealed the verdict. A flashback to Cala's lab, her AI saving lives. Explained her restraint. She'd waited for the socialites' own words to trap them. The audience's hearts soared. Their fury transformed into elation, as Alexander's vow and Cala's trap crowned her eternal. Her silence a radiant scepter. Alexander stood beside Cala's hospital bed, his voice a vow to the elite. "My wife's strength is my empire's heart." He announced a $1 billion lawsuit against the Vance family, citing conspiracy to harm Cala, backed by investigator footage. The crowd, now distant, shuddered. As Veronica's trial gained national scrutiny, her anklet pawned, security presented a court order, freezing Vance assets. Their $2 billion empire crumbling. Guests who'd chanted Gray Mouse faced ostracism, their brands toxic. As Alexander's power reshaped society, his reflection Cala's calm. Her trap's precision fueled his stand. A photo of Cala's bookstore, her legacy for kids, flashed in his mind. Her heart eternal. The audience's heart soared. Their fury transformed into elation, as Alexander's might and Cala's strategy crowned her a queen. Her cream sundress, a radiant throne. Alexander, beside Kala's hospital bed, announced a global initiative, a $2 billion fund in Kala's name for working-class innovators, dwarfing the Vance empire. "My wife's heart is my legacy," he declared, his voice resounding. The crowd, now distant, shuddered as Veronica's trial became a media storm. Her name erased, security presented a court order, seizing Vance assets for restitution. Their $2 billion empire crumbling. Guests who'd mocked Kala faced global shunning. Their brands toxic, as Alexander's influence reshaped elite circles. His reflection, Kala's nod in the pool. Her trap's precision fueled his stand, a flashback to his own poverty. Kala's belief in him explained his loyalty. She'd seen his potential when no one else did. The fund's logic, Kala had proposed it to honor her mother, ensuring her victory endured. The audience cheered, their anger transformed into awe, as Alexander's might and Kala's vision crowned her a queen. Her cream sundress, a radiant throne. The Vance family's estate, once a fortress of privilege, faced scrutiny. Their gatherings canceled, their magnolias wilting. Veronica's trial loomed, her smirk gone, her anklet pawned. Kala's bookstore, a quiet project for Pittsburgh kids, gained a $500,000 grant from Alexander's foundation. Her legacy growing, guests left in silence, their champagne warm, as Kala's name became a whisper, not a shadow, but a titan. Her resolve, forged in water and refined by strategy, now soared. The hospital room, a testament to her spine's refusal to bend. The audience cheered, their anger transformed into awe, as Kala's truth and Alexander's partnership crowned her a queen. Her modest life, a radiant throne. They laughed when she fell. They stayed quiet when she rose. He jumped in to save her, but she was never drowning. She was hunting, and now, the water's calm, but their world is sinking. Like, share, comment, subscribe for more stories that strike like justice.